The dueling arena gleamed under the sterile white lights of the Nova Academy dome, its smooth metallic floor reflecting the shimmer of energy sabers as they hummed in students' hands. Every duel began the same way. 2 opponents, 1 round, and a display of precision, agility, and control. Nobody expected anything else. The weapons were energy-calibrated, harmless in practice mode, and every student had the same equipment, except today. The class had gathered early, whispering with excitement and confusion. They'd heard rumors about a new student, a human girl transferred from one of Earth's colonies on Vega 9. Most of them had never met a human before. The galaxy's young elites of different species, Kren, Arith, and Valerie, filled Nova Academy's halls, all training to become fleet tacticians, commanders, and warriors. But humans were a mystery, a relic species known for their stubborn adaptability and their strange attachment to old customs. When the door hissed open and she stepped in, the room went silent. She was smaller than most, wearing the standard gray dueling suit, her dark hair tied back. But what drew every gaze wasn't her appearance. It was the thing strapped across her back. It wasn't glowing or humming like a training saber. It wasn't made of alloyed plasma, nor did it have a sleek grip or adjustable power settings. It was long, metallic, and brutally simple. An ancient sword. The instructor, Commander Reldar of the Kren species, blinked his 4 eyes and tapped his datapad. "Cadet Elara Voss of Earth," he said, voice echoing through the chamber. "I assume you are aware this is a saber training course." Lara nodded. "Yes, Commander. I brought my own weapon." A ripple of laughter spread among the students. The Valerie twins, tall, silver-skinned, with bioluminescent tattoos, grinned at each other. "What is that?" "A museum piece." One of them asked. "You planning to duel or to slice bread?" Ilara's tone stayed calm. "Both, if needed." Commander Rella frowned. "That blade predates our energy calibration systems. It's unapproved for training use." "It's not powered," Elara said evenly. "It doesn't cut through armor and steel. It's history." The class chuckled again. Even the normally composed Arith cadets, with their crystalline skin, let out faint hums of amusement. No one brought ancient weapons to Nova Academy. No one needed to. The duel was about control, precision, and flow, not brute force. "Very well," Relda finally said, his mandibles clicking in curiosity. "Since you insist, you may demonstrate. You will spar with Cadet Vri Tal of Kren." Vri stood almost 2 meters tall, his chitinous armor plates flexing as he stepped forward, twin saber hilts in his hands. His mandibles twitched with confidence. "Try not to break that relic," he said, his voice rough and full of pride. Elara only smiled slightly. "Try not to underestimate it." The crowd shifted eagerly as the two stepped onto the dueling floor. The air shimmered with the low hum of safety barriers activating. The sabers ignited with a twin Virum, casting blue light across Vria's body. Elara unsheathed her sword in one smooth motion, the ring of metal against metal echoing in the sterile air. That sound, cold, sharp, ancient, was unlike the modern hum of energy. It was primal. "Begin!" Bull barked. Vri lunged first, saber sweeping in a cross-arc. Elara sidestepped, her boots sliding across the smooth floor. The first strikes hit nothing but air. She parried low, and when his second saber came from above, she turned her blade horizontally and deflected it with a ringing clang. Sparks flew, not of plasma but of friction. The sound shocked the onlookers. Energy sabers didn't make that kind of noise. They didn't grind or spark. Yet in that moment the clash of metal against energy was music, raw and real. Vri grunted, pressing harder. You can't block plasma forever, he snarled. Elara didn't answer. She rotated her grip, sidestepped again, and used the sword's length to redirect one saber wide. Then, with a sharp twist of her wrist, she disarmed him. One of his sabers clattering across the floor deactivated. The class gasped. Commander Relder leaned forward, eyes narrowing. Humans weren't supposed to have such fine kinetic reflexes. Not at this level. Vree roared in embarrassment and attacked again, his remaining saber flashing in a fury of blue light. Elara waited, calm still, and at the exact moment his saber came down, she stepped in close. The steel edge stopped a hair's breadth from his armored neck. Silence fell. Even the hum of energy sabers seemed to fade. Relder raised one clawed hand. Match end. Elara lowered her weapon, her breathing controlled, her expression unreadable. Vree stepped back stunned. The crowd of students erupted into whispers. She beat him with a stick of metal, one muttered. No kinetic feedback sensors. No AI assist. Just hands. She's dangerous. Relder approached her, studying the sword. That blade is not standard issue. Whose was it? Elara hesitated. My uncle's, she said quietly. He served during the Titan Wars. A murmur spread again. The Titan Wars were ancient history. Fought before Nova Academy even existed. Before the Galactic Accord united most of the major species. A human soldier from that era was practically a myth. Reldar's mandibles twitched in what might have been approval, or concern. You will keep that blade sheathed outside of class. But, he paused, tilting his head. I want to see you duel again tomorrow. When the class dispersed, Elara stayed behind, wiping the blade carefully with a cloth. The metal gleamed under the light, its edges worn but lovingly maintained. On the hilt, engraved faintly, was an old Earth phrase. Fortune favors the bold. A soft voice broke her focus. That wasn't just for show, was it? Elara turned. It was Listen, an Arith cadet whose crystalline form shimmered with faint light. She was one of the few who hadn't laughed earlier. Elara smiled faintly. No, it's more than a weapon. It's a reminder. Listen tilted her head. Of what? That sometimes old things still work. Even when the galaxy forgets them. The next day, the dueling class was packed. Word had spread far beyond their cohort. Even upper-level cadets came to watch. Commander Relder looked faintly amused by the attention, but he didn't discourage it. He simply turned to Elara and said, Today, you will face two opponents. Vree stood beside another cadet, a Volari named Kylen. Both ignited their sabers, twin blades of blue and orange light. Elara's hand rested calmly on her sword's hilt. When Relder signaled the start, both opponents attacked simultaneously, one high, one low. Energy sabers slashed through the air with lethal speed. Elara twisted, ducked, deflected and parried. The clang of steel against energy echoed again, rhythmically, almost musical. Each strike she met was redirected, never absorbed, always flowing. Her sword danced. The crowd's excitement grew. Even the instructors from other training divisions had arrived, drawn by the commotion. Reldar's gaze remained fixed on her stance, her footwork, her uncanny timing. It wasn't random. It was centuries of human martial tradition compressed into fluid movement, swordsmanship passed down through blood, not databanks. Kylen lunged forward with a spinning strike. His species' signature move. Elara ducked under it, rolled, and came up behind him. Her blade stopped an inch from his back before he even turned. End! Rella barked again. The arena burst into applause and disbelief. Impossible. She's reading our movements. She's not using any augment. Ree stood there panting, both his sabers lowered. You fight like an AI, he muttered. But you're flesh. Elara smiled faintly. No. I fight like a human. After the duel, Elara became the talk of the academy. Every corridor whispered her name, and every species had an opinion about her. Some called her lucky, others called her dangerous, and a few quietly admitted admiration. Even the instructors began observing her other classes, analyzing how she thought, how she moved, how she planned. Humans were known for many things: adaptability, unpredictability, emotion, but what they saw in her went beyond that. It was control, precision, and instinct blended into something old and new at once. For Elara, though, the attention was suffocating. She didn't come to be a spectacle. She came because she had a purpose, something her uncle had told her before he died. When they forget what humans can do, remind them. He had served in the Titan Wars, one of the last human warriors who had fought without augmentation, when machines were still learning from humans instead of commanding them. He had wielded that very sword in real combat, in gravity-scarred trenches under alien skies. Now she carried it not just as a weapon, but as a memory. 3 days later, Commander Relder summoned her to his office. The Kren instructor's mandibles clicked as she entered. Cadet Voss, he began, your dueling performance has stirred considerable attention. The Academy Board is requesting a demonstration for the visiting delegation from the Galactic Defense Council. They wish to see the AIvsHuman method. Elara frowned slightly. I'm not here for display, sir. Relder tilted his head. Perhaps not, but you are here to prove something. I have read your service record, your uncle's too. You may not realize it, but this is your chance to remind the galaxy why humans were once feared and respected in equal measure. She stood straighter. When is the demonstration? Tomorrow. Against an enhanced opponent. Her expression tightened. Enhanced how? Relder's 4 eyes blinked slowly. A synthetic duelist. Model 9A. It's designed to replicate war-level reflexes. Don't worry, the arena safety field will be at full strength. She gave a faint smile. I'll try not to break your machine. The next day, the dueling dome overflowed with spectators, cadets, officers, and the visiting council members. The polished floor reflected the faint shimmer of the containment field. The synthetic opponent stood at the center, tall and humanoid, its body plated with silver alloy, eyes glowing faint blue. It held 2 energy sabers, each calibrated to near combat speed. Unlike cadets, it did not tire, hesitate, or doubt. Commander Relder stood beside the council observers, his mandibles twitching in anticipation. Begin simulation, he ordered. The sabers flared to life. The machine's movements were immediate, efficient, deadly. It attacked with calculated precision, no hesitation between strikes. Elara barely unsheathed her sword before the first blow came. She twisted aside, sparks flaring as steel met plasma once again. The crowd leaned forward, holding their breath. The synthetic pressed harder. Each strike came faster, closer, sharper. Elara blocked, redirected, retreated, every motion measured, every breath controlled. The sword moved in arcs, not slashes, a rhythm of defense that slowly shifted to counterattack. Her heart pounded, her mind cold and clear. Then she found her opening. Step left. Pivot. A twist of her wrist, and her blade slid through the narrow gap in the machine's defense. The metal rang against alloy, and the synthetic staggered back, one arm sparking and falling limp. Gasps filled the arena. The machine recalibrated instantly, switching to single saber mode. Its attacks grew faster, less predictable. It was learning her style. But she was learning too. The machine fainted high. She didn't fall for it. Swept low. She blocked with a reverse grip, the blade shrieking as it deflected plasma. Then she stepped inside its reach, too close for Sabers to swing effectively. The crowd couldn't even follow what happened next. A flash of motion, a ringing impact, and the synthetic froze mid-strike. Elara stood behind it, sword lowered. The machine's core light flickered, then dimmed. Silence. Then the crowd erupted. Even the council delegates rose from their seats, astonished. Commander Relthar walked forward slowly, his voice resonant. Human reflexes. No augmentation. No predictive AI. Yet victory. Elara simply bowed her head, sliding her sword back into its scabbard. "It's not about reflexes," she said quietly. "It's about understanding your enemy. Machine reacts. A human feels." The words carried through the hall like a strike of thunder. That night, Elara sat alone in the observation deck, watching the stars beyond the glass dome. The lights of distant ships flickered like fireflies in the void. The hum of the Academy's engines echoed faintly through the floor beneath her boots. Listen joined her quietly, her crystalline body shimmering in the starlight. "You made history today," Listen said softly. Elara smiled. "History doesn't care much for names. It just remembers what matters." Listen tilted her head. "And what matters to you?" "That we remember who we are," Elara said. "Machines, rules, and technology make things easier, but they also make people forget the struggle that built them. Humans learn through loss. Every scar, every blade, every story teaches us something no computer can simulate." Listen considered that, the light in her chest pulsing faintly. "The Council is already talking about reinstating human combat programs. They called you an example of heritage efficiency." Elara laughed softly. "Heritage efficiency. That's one way to say we're stubborn." Listen's eyes glowed warmer. "They're also considering naming a new dueling curriculum after you." Elara shook her head. "No. Name it after my uncle, Marcus Voss. He earned it. I just reminded them." Listen nodded slowly. "What will you do now?" Elara turned her gaze to the stars again. "Keep training. Keep learning. The galaxy may forget humans again one day. But when it does..." She looked down at the sword resting beside her, its blade reflecting the starlight like a captured flame. "Someone else will pick this up and remind them again." The silence between them stretched, calm and full. Outside, a cruiser drifted across the distant horizon, its engines glowing softly against the dark. Somewhere in the endless night, humanity's legacy, of courage, of defiance, of remembering where strength truly came from, continued, carried not by fleets or machines, but by a single girl who brought an ancient sword to a galaxy that had forgotten what it meant to fight with heart. And far below, in the quiet archives of Nova Academy, a new entry was made in the training logs. Cadet Elara Voss, human. Weapon, steel longsword. Result, victory. Next to it, Commander Relthar added one note in his own words. Recommendation: study human combat psychology further. Their technology may fade, but their will endures. They fight as though the universe itself has forgotten them, and perhaps that is why they always win.